Hi, I'm here in Philippi, and one of the wonderful things to see here in Philippi is this mosaic floor and some of the ruins around it that were part of an ancient church. It goes clear back to the year 330 or 340. In the 4th century, this was built here, one of the oldest churches, perhaps the oldest church in all of Greece, and because the gospel began here, it's probably one of the oldest churches in all of Europe. Now, to the church here in Philippi and the others in Macedonia, the Apostle Paul wrote a commendation. And listen to the words he said. It's a great introduction to our lesson today. In 2 Corinthians 8, starting in verse 1, he said, "Now we make known to you, brothers and sisters, the grace of God given to the churches of Macedonia." Right here in Philippi and Thessalonica and Berea are the ones we know of. That during a severe ordeal of suffering, in other words, the churches here were suffering, the people were suffering financially and other ways, but their abundant joy and their extreme poverty overflowed in the wealth of their generosity. That's amazing. Extreme poverty, and yet they were generously, overwhelmingly generous. He says in verse 3, "For I testify that they gave according to their means and beyond their means." In other words, beyond what they could reasonably afford, they gave. They did so voluntarily, begging us with great earnestness for the blessing and fellowship of helping the saints. They begged for the opportunity to give. Amazing. In the midst of their poverty, this wonderful church here in Philippi wanted to give. Now that was early on. That was in the days of the Bible. Later on, they gave to build this church and the other basilicas that we have here. And they were destroyed by earthquakes, but we have the remnants so that we can see the results of their generosity. Keep this place in mind and how wonderfully they gave as we study our lesson today on giving.